Hi everyone, my name is Britton Klein, Ad Sales Manager, and welcome to the first episode of Level Up from Behind the Counter.
And I'm William Klein. Thank you for coming to our watching our new series. We are going to be talking to retailers. So if you're a dive shop out there, you're a retailer anywhere in the world, you'd like to be on the show, reach out to Britton and I. We'd love to have you. So
right.
Britton, who do we have for our very first pilot episode?
That's right. So for our guests today, we're joined with our friends from International Scuba, Dallas and Frisco, Rich Thomas and Jen Adams. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being here. Rich and I served together on the DEMA board, so we've known each other for quite a while. So I'm really excited to dig in today. So Britton, let's just get started.
That's right. So to just jump right into things, Rich, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you started at International Scuba and what led you to expand to a second store?
Sure. Well, I found International Scuba in about 2002, 2003. I was wanting to become a dive master, and I came here, and it was just such a good fit. I never left. I started working in retail, and next thing you know, I purchased a store in 2018. I was working with Jen. She was our PADI rep, and we would have these conversations about philosophy of scuba and the dive community, and we had such similar thoughts that when the opportunity came up to purchase Frisco Scuba, I asked Jen if she wanted to jump on and join the team, and we haven't looked back since. It's been amazing. She's like a secret weapon. It's really fun.
That's great. That's great. Well, thanks for telling us a little bit about the history. I think that's important. But I'd like to dig right into the very first question, which is, what are three things you think you do as a retailer really, really well? It's kind of an open-ended question, I realize.
Jen?
Sure. So one of the things that I think we do really well is we take the time to listen to our customers. Instead of telling them what they need to buy, we educate them on the features and benefits, give them a chance to educate us on where they want their goals in scuba to be, so that we can help guide them on the best purchase for their gear that they're going to use in their diving career, if you will. So we really work hard to give good customer service and not judge people about how much we think they're going to be able to spend or whatever. We just allow them to make the decisions for their own pocketbook and that work best for what their goals in scuba are.
And didn't you? I think you wrote an article for us on that exact topic, as I recall.
I did. To me, it's a really important aspect for customer service, because instead of selling them the most expensive thing that we have, not everybody's ready to jump into the highest level. Getting them where they want to be, and then I find that customers tend to appreciate that, and that helps build that loyalty and trust when you allow them to make decisions for themselves.
And I thought you addressed the flip side of that too, which is prejudging is a huge problem in sales. When someone walks in and you say, they can't afford that $700 dive computer or whatever, and so you wrote about that too.
I did, yeah. You get customers that come in. It's very common in sales to judge somebody based on their age or their appearance as to what they can afford, and in reality, it's usually not accurate. And you allow people to make those decisions, and they might surprise you. And at the end of the day, you're building that rapport with the customer, which is the most important part.
Absolutely. Wow, that's some pretty amazing insight. I love that.
Yeah. So Rich, you also told us that you guys really work really hard on making sure that when someone comes in for service, you try to help them understand where they're at. Because I think you told me a story of some guy that went around a bunch of garage sales and brought a bunch of really old gear in for service. That was a pretty funny story on how you handled that. So why don't you dig into that a little?
Yeah. So, with servicing, there's a little bit of a sticker shock for sometimes when people come in to have something serviced. But it's not if you educate them and let them know what's involved with it. And I think the more information we give our customers, the more they're going to buy into it, the more they realize the value of servicing gear, and potentially why buying something, second or third hand isn't the best choice. Even you're saving up front, but you end up paying in the end. So I think it's important that we explain that to people. And let them understand what's going into the decision making. Our repair technicians are really good about calling our customers and letting them know what's going on with the regulators. I think one of our technicians, he almost looks at the regulators as his children that he's looking over, and he's counseling them on how to take care of their family. So it's a great idea. It works well.
So talk to us too a little bit about, your calendar and your social environment, because I got an opportunity to see you call it your dive tribe, and you wrote about it in another article too that you did for us, about how important it is to almost have a club-like following with your customers. Talk to us a little bit about that whole process, because that's a very fascinating aspect of your business.
Sure. I think community is everything in scuba. That's what drove me into it. It's what kept me here. Our community is so tight, and if we don't develop that and foster that, we're just churning people out, and then they leave scuba. So everything we do is built towards creating a community where people come back and we share experiences together.
How many events do you do a year with that dive tribe? Because I went out to a place called the Scuba Ranch here, which is owned by a friend of ours, a mutual friend. And I saw you do a big event. I think it was this time of year. It was in July, I want to say last year. How many events do you typically do out there?
Boy, anytime we come up with an idea for something that we can get people together, it happens. But we have a big event we do to kick off, usually in May. And I'm a retired musician, so I bring in guys from my past to play. And we do barbecue, and we'll bring in people to demo. Last weekend, we did something just really silly. We have some underwater speakers, and we wanted to do a night dive. It's nice during the summer. So we had disco music going on. We set up disco balls underwater, strobe lights, all kinds of stuff.
That's so cool.
I bought a $30 leisure suit off the internet and wore it down to dive.
How fun.
It was fun. It was silly. There was no point to it other than we got a bunch of people together and we had fun and kept them active.
How many people showed up? How many of your customers?
I think we had about 50 people show up before the thunderstorm, and then we had a big thunderstorm right before, and we lost probably about 10 or 15 people. So we had a pretty good turnout for just an impromptu thing.
That's great.
Wow.
That's great.
That's amazing. Thank you, so much for that insight. I'm sure other retailers are going to love that. Our second series of questions are, what are 3 things that you're planning to expand, change, or maybe start in the near future?
Want to take that, Jim?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that we kind of haven't been focusing a lot on is professional development. We've been doing a lot of dive masters, but not really focusing on instructor development. And so we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit and get back into the instructor development side of things. The shop was focusing on technical for a while, and then we were just trying to develop the community a little bit better. And now we just want to get some more pros. Every dive shop out there, their biggest, need is instructors. And so we want to help them to grow that community again.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, you're a course director too, Rich, as I recall, and Jen, are you a course director as well? I think you both are, correct?
I am. Yeah, we both are.
Well, that'd be
We
great.
actually have 3 at our shop.
No kidding. That's amazing. That's fantastic. So talk to us too a little about, I think you mentioned in one of the other discussions about you want to do something different with your classes. I think you said you called them a concierge class you were looking at.
Yeah, so we've we had talks with other dive shops that were struggling and didn't have pools, and it just makes me think, when I talk with people about issues they're having, and we thought, there's so many pools in people's backyards in Dallas, and we started leveraging it. I just threw it up on our website that we did concierge classes, no information about it, and people started calling and asking for it. They're like, oh, we want this concierge. And the funny thing is the first one we did, we were charging probably double, maybe a little more than double of what we normally charge for a class. And so I showed up with the instructor to really make them feel like they were getting their value. Like, oh, the owner's even here. The owners, because they were hosting us at their house, they had set up a buffet for us. They had catering. It was like an event.
How fun.
And
That's amazing.
it was such an amazing event. It was such a great class. The people really enjoyed it. And, it didn't tie up our pool. And it allows us DFW is a very large area, and not all of it is served by dive shops. So we're reaching out to some of the areas that have affluent swimming pools, but no dive shop nearby, and that's something we're working on right now.
Well,
Wow, that's
again, you're going to
amazing.
need more pros for that.
That's right.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
Definitely.
And talk to us a little about the desire you have for snorkeling, seeing snorkel. How do you, as an inland shop, capitalize or try to expand that?
So that's actually easier than you'd think. So many people aren't comfortable on the surface of the water for prolonged periods of time. So we offer snorkeling classes. We're trying to start marketing that more. We get a lot of people who aren't even necessarily scuba divers or looking to be scuba divers, obviously, but they are getting ready to go on a trip to the Caribbean. They want to be comfortable with snorkeling when they get there. So we're building packages where they get a high-end snorkel kit along with the snorkeling class, where they get time in our indoor pool, getting comfortable, maintain themselves on the surface, snorkeling, clearing a snorkel, all the things that we kind of teach in that advanced snorkeling class. It's pretty cool, but a lot of people are looking for that.
Amazing.
I've not heard of that in a traditional dive retailer environment, but it makes complete sense. It really does. You already have the pool, you already got the gear, and you have a much
What's
larger.
interesting? We have the speakers at DEMA, and I met Steve Husky there. He's a marketer, and I hired him, and we started analyzing how people got to our website. And he went all the way back for the whole time I've owned the shop, and the number one search term has always been snorkeling by far. And we weren't capitalizing on it at all. So that's one of the things we weren't sure, is it people that want snorkeling or they just don't know what scuba is called? But there's so many people now that we have coming in buying, they at least want a good mask because they've had that experience off a cruise ship or something where the mask was miserable. I know my first experience snorkeling, I thought I was going to drown. No one had taught me how to use a snorkel. I was a surfer. I was comfortable in the water, but I said, well, if I can't snorkel, how could I possibly scuba dive? And 5 minutes of snorkeling lessons makes you very comfortable. So I think there's a huge market for that. And no matter where you live, if you've got an airport nearby, it's a market you can tap into.
Yeah. I mean, there's like some cool snorkeling options down in Mexico, like in the cenotes and stuff. That are just blow your mind kind of stuff. So yeah, you could put together some really cool snorkeling packages. Is it something you considered maybe doing something in the travel arena?
That's a great idea. What do you think, Jen?
Yeah, I mean, we have non-divers that join some of our dive trips and do snorkeling, but yeah, doing a snorkeling only trip would probably be, it could be pretty cool. I mean, we're doing a cavern trip, so we could do a snorkeling cenote trip too.
Yeah, and I think the key there is there's operators like Stewart Cove and many other the big dive operators, and they've figured out the code is that you don't mix them. You don't put the snorkelers on the dive boats. You don't put the divers on the snorkel boats. Even though you go to a shallow side for the second side, people are bobbing around on the dive boat. They get seasick because they can't get in the water because it's too deep for the first side, or they don't see anything if they do. So I mean, the key there is definitely having this separation, and there might be something interesting there. Well, Rich and Jen, thank you for coming onto the show. Thanks for talking to us. Any last parting words you might have that you'd like to throw out to those nuggets of wisdom to other aspiring dive retailers or existing retailers?
I would just like to invite everybody to show up at DEMA this year so that we can network and share ideas and build our community. That's what we need in scuba. So, we'll be there in Orlando.
I would also add on that, remember that the dive shop down the road is not necessarily competition. You guys can build scuba together, because when we work as a team, we'll grow the market all as a team.
Absolutely.
That's like what rising tide. The rising tide raises all boats, right?
That's right.
Absolutely. There's too much infighting in scuba. We should all be friends.
That's so true. That's so
Definitely.
true.
Well, thank you so much, Rich and Jen, for being on the show. We really, really look forward to seeing you both at DEMA this fall. But speaking about DEMA, we're only about 110 days or
hard to
3 issues
That's hard to believe.
away from the show this November.
So, Britton, who do we have lined up for our next guest on this wonderful new series?
That's right. Our next guest is going to be Jeff Sincerpino, former owner of Scuba Shack in Rocky Hill, Connecticut. He's a great friend of ours.
Writes
Of
for
our-
the magazine every
That's
month.
right.
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
writer for the magazine, and stay tuned for that. Be a
So
great show.
this is a great interview, and I'm going to challenge you both because you've written for us before. Love you to think about writing another follow-up article on either the topics we talked about or something completely different. But both of you, we really appreciate your support. You can find this show and other shows that we produce here, as well as our magazine at scubadivinindustry.com. So I think that's going to do it for our first episode.
That's right. Thank
Thanks
you guys
again,
so much
Rich
for
and
joining
Jen.
us.
We'll see you
See you
soon.
next
Thank
time.
you for
Thank you
having
so
us.
much.
Bye.